I hope everybody had a great week so far as Memorial Day weekend. So some 4 days for 4-day weekend for some military folks, all military folks, and maybe for DOD, I think for DOD as well. Right, we can begin. We are live on YouTube, so we can go ahead and begin. Welcome, everyone. I appreciate everybody's time. Friday night, you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here to be part of the Eretmis family, share knowledge, and also to grow as a security professional or upcoming security professional. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Adu. I'm going to be your facilitator for this, for tonight's cyber chat as usual. So tonight's topic, we are going to be looking at what are some of the best cybersecurity certifications in 2023, right? So we are going to start off here and we begin time now. And we have folks coming in still, so please bear with me if we are allowing, there is a little like delay here and there, right? So today's topic, getting back on track, is what are the best cybersecurity certifications for 2023? And we will talk extensively about cybersecurity certifications and the requirements and all that, and then also some insights into which one to pursue based on the career path that you want to take, right? So let's begin. Welcome to Eretmis Academy. Eretmis Academy facilitates this program every Friday night. And for everyone who is new to the family, if you've not already done so, we have some free training, cybersecurity for beginners and also for PCI for beginners. You can try your hands on those on Eretmis Academy's website. So let's begin. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Adu. I'm going to be your instructor or facilitator for this session. It's going to be a really informative discussion. I'm a former United States Army captain. I'm a QSA. I'm the founder of Eretmis Academy. Also CEO for Eretmis Inc., PCI QSA company based in New York, and also Eretmis Academy is cybersecurity training institute based in New York. So enough about me. We are going to move forward with. So Memorial Day sales is still on. It's going to end on the 31st, and just use Memorial 30 for any of our courses, and you should be able to take advantage of this to get 30% free. 30% off any course that you want to take. So we are starting off with the definitions of what a cybersecurity certification is, or certifications in general, right? So we will first start off with a certificate and certification, right? So certification is a process. Certificate is the actual certificate that you get, right? In the process of getting certification, you also get a certificate in that process as well. Right, so for certifications, normally you complete a course and you get a certificate. So if you go to any school, you take any certificate course, once you complete the course, you get a certification of completion, right? That is not what we are going to talk about. We are talking about the certification aspect of this, right? So also with the certification aspect, there is a certificate to it, right? So we are going to explain that, and almost everybody on here should be familiar with cybersecurity certifications, like the process that you have to go through, and then the paper that you're going to show to show to employers that you've gone through the certification process, and this is the certificate that you got out of it, right? So cybersecurity certifications or information security certifications or IT certifications in general is a process that you go through to demonstrate that you have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to be able to do whatever job is within, the scope of that certification, right? So when we narrow it down to just cybersecurity or information security, you have demonstrated that you have a mastery of cybersecurity field or information security field, right? And these certifications, they focus on different areas or different aspects of cybersecurity, right? The different areas could be the soft skills or the technical skills or a combination of both. And they can also focus on specific niches within the cybersecurity space. So ethical hacking or auditing or GRC or right. So it can follow any of those. But today we are not going to look at it from the perspective of the individual niches within cybersecurity, but we are looking at it from what are the most popular, and then also what are the most that employers are looking for when it comes to certifications. And then we're also going to look at it from the beginner stage to intermediate to advanced, right, stage as well, right? So certifications, they demonstrate that you have the knowledge and skills, abilities to be able to perform in the cybersecurity or information security space, right? So certifications, they carry weight, like I always say. Most people get it. I wouldn't say if they get it twisted or how, I don't know how they look at it. But some people think once you get the certification, that is it. You know, employers shouldn't even ask you anything. They should just take you and give you that job. But it doesn't really necessarily work that way, right? The more certifications you hold, the more I wouldn't say liable, but the more you're expected to have the knowledge and skills that comes with those certifications, right? So mostly I wouldn't encourage you to get way ahead of yourself, right? You shouldn't drive. It's like you are driving at night. You shouldn't drive too far that you can see. So if your skills and your abilities, your knowledge is not up to where you need to be for that certification, please make sure you get the knowledge and skill and abilities to that level before you go sit for that exam. You can sit for that exam and pass, but that doesn't necessarily demonstrate that you have the knowledge and skill to back it up. An example, most people will just get some dumb questions. We will get to all that, right? Prep questions, they'll just memorize a bunch of answers, sit for exams and pass without knowing a thing about the questions that they were asked, like they were answering, right? So in that instance, you have the certification, you can stack up certifications, but then when it comes to interviews, now, the truth is really going to come out, because there are a lot of things that people on the other side doing the interview, they expect you to know because you hold those certifications, but you don't because you just memorize practice test questions and you just passed, right? And even if they don't interview you and they give you the job, what are you really going to do on the job, right? So certifications, they are good, but you are the certification, not the piece of paper you are holding as a certificate that came out of the certification, right? So I hope everybody, kind of gets where I'm going at with this, right? So for certifications within cybersecurity, information security, and IT in general, they are issued by independent organizations such as trade or industry associations within the industry that are accepted within the industry, right? So for certificates, if you go to any of the trade schools or any of the boot camps, once you complete, you are going to get a certificate of completion. If you come to Eretmis, once you've completed a course, you're going to get a certificate of completion for that course. If you go to college, you are going to get a degree for your cybersecurity or information security, whatever that you took, right? If it is a certificate course you took with them, you are going to get a certificate. But when it comes to certifications within the industry, once you've gone through school, you've gone through boot camps, you still have to sit for these certifications to demonstrate that you have the knowledge, skills, and abilities as required within the industry to be able to function effectively within the industry. So certification bodies, they are not academic bodies, right? They are independent associations and trade organizations within the industry. So specifically cybersecurity or information security industry that will administer tests, and most of them also have their own training package that you can go through to pass their certification, right? But sometimes the funny part of the whole setup is that you go through their training and you think you went through CompTIA training, so Security Plus should be easy, and they will look like totally like night and day, right? So the training will will not really get you where you need to be for those. So mostly, not to say taking a training from the main certification bodies is bad or anything of that sort, but mostly they are training like way over there, and the certification exams also is on some other tangents, right? So for the certification bodies, some of the popular ones, CompTIA, obviously, ISC Square, ISACA, GIAC, Cisco, and the rest. Like there's a whole list of them, CIPP, and there's a whole bunch of them also, right? But these are some of the very common certification bodies. Now, anybody can come up with a certification body, right? But it takes time for you to get recognized within the industry, and then also for you to get all the certification that you need as a certification body, right? For you to be really recognized, right? So one of the very old certification bodies when it comes to cybersecurity is ISC Square, right? CompTIA came about not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken, around probably 2009, 2010. Don't quote me on that, but around that time-ish is when CompTIA came about. ISACA, I think they've also been around for a while because of the auditing stuff that they do. GIAC, I'm not really sure when they came out, but that is just a little background about these certification bodies. So these are some of the popular ones that are out there. Now, for all these certifications within cybersecurity, right? Once you've gone through, it is a continuous process. If you get the certificates out of the certification, after sitting for the exams and passing, you also have to renew. Some you have to renew yearly, some you have to renew every 3 years, right? And we also call something continuing education units, and some other certification bodies will call it CPUs, some will call it CEUs. So you have to continuously demonstrate that you are keeping up to date with the industry, what is going on with the industry. So if you're attending conferences, if you're attending webinars like this one, if you are taking other certification courses, when it's time for you to renew any of these certifications, you can present that, and automatically it meets the requirements set by that body, they are going to renew your certification for you. If it doesn't, you probably have to resit for the exam, or you have to, sometimes you have to take like a training through them to be able to get certified. So you don't necessarily have to resit the exams every 3 years or every year, if that is the case. But what is good about certifications is they are always pushing for that angle, which is continuous learning, right? Which is what you need within the cybersecurity industry anyways. So now we are going to look at some of the certifications, and we will first look at why should you even bother to get a certification. So I kind of talked about that briefly. So one, having a certification demonstrates to industry players like your potential employer that you've gone through the pain of preparing, sitting for, and passing a certification exam. And not just that, but what happened to you throughout that process of your preparation. The learning portion, right? You've gained the knowledge and the skill to be able to work within the cybersecurity space, right? Now, this doesn't also mean if you don't have a certificate or if you don't have a certification, it doesn't mean you don't have the knowledge and skills to work, right? But it's like, can you drive, and do you have a driver's license? You can drive without a driver's license, right? Without having a driver's license. And if you have a driver's license, it's a plus, because if we are picking or we are employing a driver, I'd rather pick somebody who has a license and who can drive, rather than just somebody who can drive without a license, right? If driving without a license wasn't a crime or wasn't anything that borders on law, you can choose to drive with a license or not. In this instance, you can choose to work within the industry without a certification, or you can choose to work with a certification, right? But because it is always a continuous process, you can start working without the certification and work towards a certification. Some jobs will even ask you, hey, we require you to have maybe CISSP or Security Plus. If you don't have it, we're still going to employ you, but within 6 months, you should get it, right? So at least they give that, room, or they allow you to have that allowance to be able to really maybe polish up on the skills that you need to be able to pass those certifications. But if you have the certification, it gives you that edge, right? If you have a certification, it gives you that edge that at least you have the knowledge and skills that is supposed to back that certification. So all these certifications, they have their own curriculum that you have to go through, and those are what they use for the exams objectives, right? So the exams objectives, all questions are drawn from them. And if you're able to pass, it demonstrates that you have what it takes to be able to, work within the security field. If you don't, still you can demonstrate that you can demonstrate that you have the knowledge and skill during interviews, right? But regardless whether you have a certification or not, during interviews you still have to prove yourself, right? So the last thing you want to do is to come to an interview with 5 or 6 certifications and you have no clue what you are doing, right? In terms of anything that they're asking you, you know yourself, you don't have the knowledge and skill to be able to back whatever certifications that you are holding, right? So like, I'm going to repeat this the whole entire time. You are the certification, not a piece of paper you are holding. So make sure you have the knowledge and skill per that certification to be able to, back whatever certification that you have. And then also for you, it's also going to boost your confidence during interviews. And you can boldly tell somebody, I have Security Plus, and have the working knowledge required for Security Plus, right? So these are some of the reasons why you need cybersecurity certification. So now let's go into what are some of the best cybersecurity certifications that companies are looking for or are seeking, right? And this list is from top 10 lists from different avenues within the industry, right? That is what I'll say. So this is not just Dr. Edu picking this list, but this is a list from different research within the industry, and we combined it. So it's like top 10, and we also combine it with our own insights in the industry. Right? So let's begin. We are going to begin with the very common ones, and all these are going to be categorized based on entry level and intermediate and advanced, and then also we just added a twist with pen testing route, right? So anybody who wants to go the pen testing route will also know what type of certifications to target, right? So the first category that we will look at is the entry level certifications. So for entry level certifications, or for certifications in general, you cannot talk about security or information security certifications without mentioning Security Plus, right? Security Plus has become the starting point in everybody's cybersecurity career, right? So you can start a cybersecurity job or your first cybersecurity job without Security Plus, but if you really want to excel, as you are moving forward, you want to gain the knowledge and skill, you want to have like a really solid background when it comes to working knowledge, you need to take Security Plus, right? Now, don't go the route, or like somebody will say, don't play yourself. Don't go the route of getting Security Plus without knowing what you're supposed to know within Security Plus. So, i.e., if you are taking the Security Plus exam and you don't know half or 70% of what is on there in terms of questions, but you remember the answers from somewhere and you are just answering, that is a big no-no, right? You should be able to pass Security Plus on your own merits. And most students, we have students who come from no background, zero IT, zero cybersecurity background, will go through the entry-level course. I think the highest score we've had for Security Plus, that is for those who've told me their score, is 800, right? You are required to have 750 to pass. Most people have 760, 770, they're about 780. But we've had somebody who came from 800, and they passed it on their merits. They didn't memorize some test questions. They passed it because they understood most of the things that were on the exam, right? Although, also, don't get me wrong, you can study all you want, but for best preparation, you have to make sure you get sample questions to look at to see how the questions are structured, right? So that is part of your preparation, but your goal shouldn't be to memorize test questions and their answers, right? So some people go through the exams, like they will read a question and they are looking for 7.5 7.3. Like that is, they are looking for the answers. They are not even trying to understand what is being asked and try to go through. So if you go on the, like if you go to take the exam and, 80% of the questions you memorized didn't show up, obviously you are going to fail, right? And these exams, they don't come cheap. I think Security Plus is now 392 or something, on those lines. For CISSP and the rest, some of them are almost like $800. So you really want to be ready to take these, because I don't know how many $800 you have to spare. So you write it first time, fail, second time, third time, right? So for any of these certification exams, please make sure before you write them, you are well prepared. But then also, aside studying to be able to pass on your own merits, make sure you have some practice tests. Your goal should not be to memorize the questions and answers on these practice tests. You don't know for sure that they are going to show up or not. But if you really understand and you try to answer these questions on your own merits, come exams day, it's going to be easy peasy because, and whatever they throw at you, you are going to be ready for it, right? So for Security Plus is one of the most popular security certifications out there. And it is certified, it meets DoD certification. So for DoD, within the Department of Defense, Security Plus is big. It's one of the certifications that they need for within, the cybersecurity professionals that they employ. So if you are trying to go the government side, federal side to do DoD security jobs, Security Plus is a must-have, almost a must-have. Now they're also trying to have it where all military folks, maybe in the next 5 years or so, all military folks should, as part of the prerequisite or as part of their security awareness training, they should be able to sit for and pass Security Plus, which I think is really far out there, but it's something that is doable. But I'm not really sure, but it's something that is on their checklist, on the DoD's checklist. So Security Plus, we are going to look at. I think for just Security Plus, we will look at how long the exam is, the price, and so yes, the price for the exams, you have to pay $392, right? If you are a student, there is like a student discount that CompTIA offers. Also, Eretmis is a partner. Eretmis Academy is a CompTIA partner. So for anybody on this call or in the Eretmis WhatsApp group, if you are trying to take Security Plus or any of the CompTIA certifications, if you get with us, we have a 20% discount that we are going to give to you free of charge, right? So if you purchase the certification through us, and we don't get commission or anything, zero. So where we are pushing out the whole entire 20% to all Eretmis members, right? So if you're on this call and you are trying to take Security Plus, at least I think 20% off will bring this to 312 or something, right? So at least you'll be able to save some $70. And that is something that we will give to everybody on our platform, right? So for knowledge, this is from CompTIA. CompTIA says you should have at least CompTIA Network Plus, but it's not always the case. You can still take Security Plus without CompTIA Network Plus, but you have to have a good working knowledge of networking and all other areas that are required on these exams objective, right? So for the exam, you have 90 minutes to complete, and you have 90 questions to answer, right? I think 5 of them are what they call simulation. So they are kind of drag and drop version, and you need 750 to pass, 750 out of 900 points to pass the exam, right? So we are only going to go through and for renewal, if you took Security Plus and your 3 years is valid for 3 years, if your 3 years is up, if you take a higher certification like Security Analyst, CompTIA Security Analyst or Pen Test Plus, it is automatically going to renew Security Plus. So for most of these certifications, I think is only with CompTIA. If you take a higher certification, the lower certification automatically renews, right? For ISC Square and ISACA, it's not necessarily the case. each of them are, you know, standalone certifications, so they are not automatically going to renew other ones for you. But when it comes to your certification, when it comes to time to recertify other certifications that you took, you can submit those and they'll give you points, CEU points or CPE points, and you'll be able to use that to meet your certification requirements, right? So whatever you are doing in terms of certifications, they are going to help you when it comes to recertification on either of these certifications. So for Security Plus, you don't have to write it again if you don't want to. CompTIA's website, they have some CEU training where you can get continuous education, and they give you the points and you'll be able to renew it, right? But if you also want to test your knowledge and skill every 3 years, that is also good. That is also a great way to really actually test yourself, right? So if you write it and you fail, you can always go back the CEU route and or get certified again. But I don't think if you took this for the first time and you passed, then you are always keeping up to date with the industry. You are going to, you know, fail this. And also, mind you, for most of these certifications or for these like certification bodies, they update their certification knowledge, body of knowledge every 3 years, almost every 3 years, right? So because maybe if you took Security Plus and you took the new, like you took 501, or I think 501 was 3 years. Yes, they just switched 501 to 601. If you took 501 when it just started, by the time it's time for you to renew, you probably have to take 601, right? So every 3 years, they also have to update to keep up with the industry, with industry knowledge, right? So let's move on. The next one, this is pretty new. Google Cybersecurity Certificate. Maybe probably you've seen ads for this on YouTube and other places. But this is a course that was launched together with Coursera, with Google to teach cybersecurity. But this is a foundational or kind of introductory foundational course. Unlike Security Plus, this doesn't really go in depth as Security Plus, and it's not as hard or as technical as Security Plus, right? You can take this through Coursera. I think it was some deal that they struck with Google, right? So you can also start with this as one of the entry-level points in security. So with this, cost is really, I think, $50 for Coursera's subscription is $50. So if you take every month, so if you can take the course within a month, you only pay $50. And I think after completion of the course, they give you a certificate. You go through maybe some tests after the completion of the course, and you get that certificate. You take that certificate exam, and once you pass, your certification is done. You get the certificate, and you can also use that as part of the cybersecurity certifications that you have, right? So this you don't need any prior experience or anything. Now, one thing that I failed to mention with CompTIA Security Plus, although it's entry level, it stays on there on their website and also in their exams requirements that you are supposed to have at least, I think, 1 to 2 years of experience or 2 to 3 years of experience. But that is really not a big deal, because for them, you don't have to apply for the certificate or apply once you pass the exam. So for anybody beginning from scratch, you can still start with that, right? You don't necessarily need a 2 to 3 years or 1 to 2 years experience. Same thing with this, the Google Cybersecurity Certificate. You can also take it from coming into the industry, right? Now, we have another one from GIAC, is the Information Security Fundamentals. This is also kind of the Google certification that we looked at. It's not as in-depth as Security Plus, because Security Plus is hard, right? If you are trying to pass on your own merit, you have to really understand a lot of things, really good working knowledge in all areas of security. This is a fundamental, like a foundational course that is not as in-depth as Security Plus. Right? So, but this is also a good starting point for anybody who is trying to take some course to get some situational awareness within the industry. This is also something that you can also take. Now, ISC Square. also is trying to come up with something, or they came up with something that seems like it wants to compete with Security Plus, but not really. And that is certified in cybersecurity. They started this off with certified entry-level professional. And I was like, I think they stole the name from Eretmis Academy's entry-level course. And I think like that was when they started it off, and they were giving it out for free for people to take the exams and take the training. Now, I think they settled on certified in cybersecurity as the name, CC as the name for this certification, right? So CC from ISC Square is also, one of the certifications that's ideal for people who want to start working within the industry. Now, I'm just speculating. ISC Square, I think they came out with this because all their certifications are advanced certifications, right? CISA, not CISA, CISSP, CCSP, and the rest. Almost all of them are mostly advanced level cybersecurity certification. So they're trying to get something that will be kind of match Security Plus, right? And others within those space. So that is why I think they came up with this. And also to make them user-friendly for people who want to start working within the security space and who want some certifications. That way, they also want to take some of the market from CompTIA, right? When it comes to such certifications at the beginner level, right? So this certification, you can also, I think the training is still free. I'm not sure, but for the certificate to write the exam, I'm not sure if it's $50 or $100, something on those lines, right? And all these certifications that we've looked at, they are vendor neutral, right? They are, and what do I mean by vendor neutral? So they do not focus on any specific vendor, right? Unlike certifications like AWS, architect, cloud architect, and all those ones are not vendor neutral. They are specific, and Cisco certifications are not vendor neutral. They are specifically for certain organization, right? So what we are looking at are just vendor neutral certifications. All right, so let's move on to advanced or senior level certification options, right? And now once we've gone through that, we will talk about mid-level certifications. So let's look at the advanced level. So we looked at beginner straight to advanced, and I'll tell you why. So with advanced, we are going to look at what some people normally tag as the gold standard in cybersecurity when it comes to certifications. CISSP, Certified Information Systems Security Professional. This is, I think, the oldest certification, cybersecurity certification that is out there, right? And when it comes to the advanced certifications, I'll say it's still the oldest and it's top of the top, right? So far, right? But when it comes to the entry level, is Security Plus, and CompTIA, they were able to gain those grounds and capture that market. ISACA, this certification is through ISACA. No, it's through ISC Square, right? ISC Square, they are now trying to compete with the CC certification because they really lost focus on that side. CISSP is an advanced certification, or advanced or senior level certification. The main focus of CISSP is not necessarily on the too heavy on the technical side, but more on the managerial and operational side of cybersecurity, right? So if you are looking to be a cybersecurity manager, CISO, CIO, any of those top management positions, then you need CISSP, right? Now, CISSP, for somebody who is starting off, you can still write CISSP and pass, but you are not going to be a full-blown CISSP, right? You are going to be an associate CISSP. So until you have 5 years of working experience in the security field, you wouldn't be able to apply and get certified as a CISSP, right? So if you are new to the industry and you want to test your knowledge and skills, you can prepare and sit for and pass CISSP, but then you are going to be an associate, which still looks very favorable on you, because to pass CISSP is not easy, right? Most folks who are in the industry, I ran into somebody who has taken CISSP. He's been working in cybersecurity industry for 15 years. He's taken CISSP 8 times, and he has not passed yet. So he has other certifications. Pretty smart guy, but I don't know, for some reason he's unable to pass CISSP, right? So it's not an easy exam. For CISSP, I think most people who will fail, it's not because you don't know your stuff, but you have to master how they ask their questions and how you should answer them, right? An example, most of the CISSP questions are very tricky. So a typical example, they ask most of their questions in the way of which of the following is the best option. Maybe an example, I'm just giving like an example. Which of the following is the best way to transmit data over the internet, right? And they have different options there. So the key word there is which of the following is the best. Everything in the stack of answers are good. Which one is the best? That is the tricky part, right? If they just ask the question, which of the following is used to transmit data from point A to point B securely, that is easy, right? Because most of the answers are going to be wrong. Maybe only 2 are going to stand out. And if you are able to look at it critically, you'll be able to choose the right answer. But if the question is which of the following is the best, which of the following is most likely, which of the questions like that are a bit tough to answer, right? So that is how CISSP, they ask their questions, and they've been around for a while, and they've gone above and beyond to protect the integrity of the exam, right? So that is why it is really respected within the industry, and because it has been around for a long time, most people hold it to a very high standard, right? So what I was talking about still goes to this. So if you are going to an interview, you have Security Plus, you have CISSP, and they're asking you questions and you're all over the place, you can't answer simple cybersecurity questions. Now they start to doubt how you got CISSP and Security Plus and every other certification that you have, right? So make sure you have the knowledge and skill. It's not just you trying to memorize. If you are not even memorizing questions, right? You are going through, we have a CISSP book. If you are pretty smart, so you can just learn it without knowing anything, understanding it, and go and sit and pass. You've passed, but you still have to go back to the books and make sure you are revisiting, most of these concepts that you maybe probably barely understood to write the exam. That way you have a better understanding. So when you present yourself anywhere that, yes, I have Security Plus, I have CISSP, I have CISA, I have whatnot, you actually have the knowledge and skill to back it up. So for CISSP, the average salary that, folks with CISSP take, I think from the where we got this research from, it was 145, but mostly within the industry is 120 to 45 plus, right? There's really no limit, but at least if you have CISSP, I wouldn't take anything below maybe 110, 120, right? I've run into somebody who had CISSP who was taking 60K. You must be crazy to have CISSP and take 60K. Or probably you don't know what, you just, you took the easy way out and you just winged it and were able to get CISSP. That is why you don't value yourself that much, right? But if you actually did the work and you have any of these certifications, please ask for more money, because there is more money to be given, right? Right. So for candidates, if you said you pass CISSP, and for most of the advanced certifications, once you passed, that is not it. You can pass the exam and still not be awarded the certification, like not be awarded the certificate, right? So passing the exam is one thing. Now you have to apply for the certification. So as part of the application, you are required to have at least 5 years of working experience within the cybersecurity field for CISSP. And then also you need one guarantor who has CISSP already to guarantee for you that, yes, indeed, I know this person, he or she has been working within the industry for this long. Now, some people also take the shortcut and they don't have the 5 years, but they'll have somebody certified for them, or that. I mean, that is all on you. It depends on, where you stand on the ethical side. But the most important is whether you are a CISSP associate or you are a full-blown CISSP, you are required to have the knowledge and skill to back it up. So now we are going to move on to the next advanced certification. Now, this is from CompTIA. So CompTIA's Advanced Security Practitioner, CAPS Plus, is a vendor neutral certification. Now, this certification is, I will say, the only advanced, or yes, the only advanced or senior level certification that is very technical. Very, very technical is CAPS, right? And the focus here for CompTIA, they are trying to, I think they made this for security folks who are very, and what I mean by very technical is this, with CISSP and the rest, they have some technical aspect of it. So what I mean by technical is technical knowledge, including your working knowledge in cryptography, identity and access management. So when I say technical, not coding, not necessarily coding or any of that, right? But when it comes to CAPS, at least if you know a little bit of some coding and some scripts here and there, is going to help you, because they focus on everything, right? Everything, including what you need, to be a security engineer, security architect, and all of that. So they really don't focus much on the soft skills side, which is the operational and managerial leadership side of security, which all the other senior level or advanced level certifications focus, which they focus on, right? So Security Plus, CISA, SIM, all of them, they focus on, they kind of balance it out, the soft skill side and the technical side, even though the technical is not too technical, right? They just want to see that you have a working knowledge. But with CAPS, it's very technical, very technical. So if you are looking to take CAPS, it is also going to help you. So with all these certifications that we're talking about, when you attempt it or when you try to sit for it, it will not only boost your confidence, but you are going to learn a lot just going through that process, right? So that is just, if you really don't have anything going on, try your hands on one of these, certification. Just have it as a goal. Within the year, at least, I'm going to write 2 or 3 certifications, and just check them off your checklist, right? And that is one way that you're going to stay abreast with what is going on within the industry. Right? So CAPS is one of the very technical ones that focuses on senior security engineers and security architects and technical leads, right? So with this, I think for CAPS, we are not going to talk about how much. I think it's almost like $400 or $500 to sit for this one. Now, the next one that we are going to look at in terms of the advanced certifications is the GIAC Security Expert. That is GSE, right? So with this certification, you need some prerequisites to be able to sit for this. And all those prerequisites are going to come from GIAC as well, right? You need, I think in the list, you need the GSEC, GCIA, GCIH to be able to be ready to sit for the GSE. Now, most of you are not very familiar or wouldn't be very familiar with GIAC certifications because, one, they are very expensive, right? Very, very expensive. And for them, mostly you have to go through, not mostly, all of it, you have to go through their training before you can sit for their certification exam, right? And the training together with the exam, some cost in tunes of $5,000, $7,000 plus, right? So they are very expensive. That is why it is not as common as Security Plus and the rest that we see around, right? So, but it's also a very good certification. It's being run by GIAC and SANS Institute. So they have some of really good training and good certification package, right? But if you don't see it around a lot, and if you don't see a lot of companies asking for, a lot of employers asking for it, it's because very expensive. So some of it are not that much expensive, but I don't think they have any certification that is below $1,000. Don't quote me on that, but I think they don't. Right? You can Google and go to their website and see for yourself. Their prices are on there. So now the next one that we'll look at is Certified Cloud Security Professional. Now this is one of, I'll say, the leading cloud vendor neutral cloud certifications that are out there. That is out there. This is also from ISC Square, and this will prove that at the senior level, you have the knowledge and skill when it comes to cloud computing to be able to function within any organization, right? So there are a lot of other cloud certifications that are out there that are not, that are vendor specific. So Google Cloud have, like they have their own certifications. AWS, they have their own. Azure has their own. And the list goes on, right? But the ones that are vendor neutral, I think we have CompTIA has Cloud Plus, and ISC Square has the Certified Cloud Security Professional. But Cloud Plus, I don't really know where I'll put it, whether at a beginner or intermediate level. But it is not an advanced certification, in my opinion. So now let's move on to the next one. We are jumping into ISACA list of certifications. So with the first one that we'll look at in the stack is Certified Information Security Manager. Now this certification is kind of almost on the same level with CISSP, right? Not in terms of difficulty of getting the certification, but in terms of how folks within the industry sees it, or how employers see this certification, right? Because it also focuses on operational, managerial, aspect of cybersecurity. But in terms of difficulty, I'll say the level of difficulty, I'll say CISSP is more difficult than SIM, not because SIM is easy, but it's because of the owners of the certification. So ISC Square and ISACA, they have different ways of setting their questions, their exam questions. That is what makes CISSP difficult, and ISP and SIM not as difficult as compared to CISSP, because CISSP is tricky. ISACA, they don't set their questions to trick you necessarily, right? So their questions are not as tricky as CISSP, as ISC Square, right? So that is why if I say CISSP is more difficult to scale, it's not because it's better than SIM, but it's because of how they set their questions. That is why most people struggle with passing CISSP. It's tricky. It's not because you don't know your stuff, but it's tricky. Now, ISACA, they are kind of straightforward, a bit more like CompTIA, right? CompTIA, they are also straightforward. So mostly with most of their questions, if you know the answer, sometimes it's obvious. You just read it and you pick your answer and you move your way, right? But with ISC Square, they always try to trick you. I don't know if that is part of the certification or part of the skills they are trying to have you gain or what, but maybe that is what makes them them. So that is what makes them ISC Square. I don't know, right? So, but for SIM is one of the industry, highly recommended certifications in the advanced / senior level within the cybersecurity space, right? And also, just like CISSP, with all the advanced level certifications, you need at least 5 years of experience within the industry, right? At least 5 years. So with this, once you pass, you also have to get, you have to apply for the certification, and you also need someone with SIM or with any ISC Square, ISACA senior certification, such as CISA, SIM, and the rest, to also guarantee or certify you, right? Or I think you need like somebody on those lines, or somebody that you've worked with like in a professional setting to speak to the knowledge and skill that you have within information security governance, information risk management, information security program development and management, and also information security incident management. right? So this is the areas that your SIM certification covers. Now, CISA, right? CISA is Certified Information Security Auditor. Now, CISA is by far the most sought after information security auditing certification. And I think is the only auditing certification that is out there. Don't quote me on it. But so far as I know within the industry, is the biggest, right? In terms of information security auditing certification, right? Is the biggest that is out there. Now, CISA is also similar to SIM. You need the same requirements, 5 years plus of experience, but still you can still take the exam. But until you have the 5 years, you're not going to be certified as a full CISA professional, right? So this also focuses, so the focus for CISA is on information security and then on auditing. So if you know information security or cybersecurity, and you also have some auditing skills or knowledge base, you can, try your hands on this certification. And it's a really good certification to try your hands on, or even to pass and to have the certification. So for folks who want to go the route of GRC, this is something that should be in your sights, right, as part of your career path moving forward. SIM and CISSP should also be in your sights as part of your career path, right, as part of the career path move that you want to make. Now, we are going to look at some penetration testing certification options. Now, before we do, let's talk about intermediate certification options, right? So we looked at entry level, we looked at advanced. What are some of the intermediate certifications? So aside CompTIA, that is very, aside CompTIA, that really specifies which of their certifications are intermediate level. So for CompTIA, they are intermediate in terms of their career path for cybersecurity certifications. They are CompTIA Security Analyst Plus and they are CompTIA Pen Testing Plus, Pen Tester Plus certifications. They are the ones that are intermediate, right? Aside that, everything else within the industry is like beginner and advanced. Now, with the advanced certifications, sometimes they are borderline, or they are, to the extreme intermediate, right? So intermediate, they are kind of intermediate advanced. There is a gray area there. Intermediate advanced, sometimes CISSP and CISA, they will fall within that space, right? So that is why mostly it's really hard to pick on and to say this is intermediate, right? But for intermediate, the ones that are the obvious ones, security analyst from CompTIA and pen test plus from CompTIA, right? There are other ones that may be out there that might be considered intermediate, but mostly that same, like those ones, every certification that requires you to have at least 5 years of experience is not necessarily intermediate, but we can argue it is, right? It is mostly advanced, because at that point, after 5 years, you are really now breaking from intermediate to advanced. So that is why I say there's a gray area right there. So between your fourth year, fifth year, moving forward, is a gray area between intermediate and advanced, right? So most of these certifications, we can classify them as intermediate and at the same time advanced. But the ones, the only certification body that I know that has really spelled out, hey, this is my intermediate, is CompTIA. So that is why we didn't touch on really much on intermediate. Now let's look at penetration testing for folks who want to be pen testers, or who wants to pursue forensics. We are going to look at some of the certifications that are out there. Now, most folks, when we talk about pen testing, the certification that comes in mind is ethical hacker. CEH is what comes in mind for most folks. But unlike the certifications that we just looked at for Security Plus and the rest, when it comes to penetration testing certifications, you might want to be careful, right? Because you can't just parade yourself. You can parade yourself and let your friends know you are cool. You have maybe CompTIA Pen Test Plus, or you have ethical hacker, but can you really hack anything? Can you really perform a pen testing, like a full-blown pen testing on anything, right? If you want to have it for academic purposes and also for the knowledge and skill, that is fine. But for pen testing, mostly or for the offensive side of security, is you can either do it or you can't do it. There's no gray area. Unlike maybe you get security plus, you become security analyst, there are always some gray areas that you can always, apply skills from elsewhere to it. And not saying you cannot do the same thing on the ethical hacking or forensic side, but on that side, if you want to look at it this way, is either you can drive or you cannot drive. There's nothing like explain to me how the car works and any of those. You can drive or you can't drive. So it's like, okay, go ahead, hack your way through this and let's see. So that is what I'm saying, if you manage to get yourself any of these certifications and you want to pursue a pen testing career, you probably have to get yourself on some level where you are practicing with some CTFs, capture the flag exercises, and you are following some pen tester around, helping you learn pen testing, the actual doing, the actual, testing, the actual penetration testing itself, right? Or the ethical hacking itself. Not just carrying the certification and saying, yeah, I have that, so I know ethical hacking, right? I think I ran into one guy, right, who wanted a job on some board that I sat on, who wanted to apply to become a pen, like he was applying for the penetration testing position. He had pen testing, he had CEH, and what else did he have? I think some other certifications. And during the interview, we didn't even ask him to do anything. We're just asking him normal common pots when you do your first. Okay, so walk us through the process. You are supposed to do a pen test, right? What are some of the processes? Walk us through. And also, when you're actually doing it, what is the first thing that you have to do? You've done your research. First thing that you have to do. What is the first scan that you have to do? This guy was all over the place. You could easily see that he's never actually scanned anything before, right? He's not actually went through the process of scanning, identifying some vulnerable ports and protocols, trying to attack which one first, doing research on what exploits he's going to use. He's not done any of that, right? But he's carrying himself around as a pen tester, right? I mean, you can carry yourself around as a pen tester and feel good all day, but I don't think anybody is going to pay you 100 plus to break their system, right? Or if you even know how to break it. So when it comes to these certifications, CompTIA Pen Test Plus is a written exam, right? You are not actually going to do anything. So they are testing your knowledge base. So this, you can pass. But from my experience, right? From my experience, if you try to take CompTIA Pen Test Plus and you actually have the hands-on experience, you've done a lot of ethical hacking, hands-on practice, the exams becomes very easy, right? When I took CompTIA Pen Test Plus, there were a lot of mistakes on the exam, right? Some of the answers they were given away even for the commands that they were like, that was supposed to be the right answers, they were wrong. Some were backwards, some were supposed to be, so because I knew too much than what they had on there. And that was when they have just started the pen test exam, right? But if I had taken it without knowing anything, and I just read some books and tried to figure it out, I will still have probably passed, but what really could I have done with it? Right? Not much, right? But my point is, for this, so I'm building a point here. I'm going to, as we are going through like the pen testing side, I want you to know that if you want to venture into that side, it is more hands-on. You have to practice doing penetration testing. An example, capture the flag exercises they have like different websites. So I know some folks, the first it was Hack the Box, and then I don't remember the name of that one, but they look similar to Hack the Box Callus. So I suspect it's also through Hack the Box, where they teach you pen testing from scratch and all that. But what I'll say is just, if you want to do pen testing or you want to do ethical hacking or forensics, you have to really know your stuff, right? So with this exam, they are testing your knowledge. You are not going to actually break or hack anything. So it's also like a good certification to have on those lines, right? Now let's look at GIAC penetration tester. This certification, I think last time I checked, 2019, 18, it was around like $7,000. I don't know if they've reduced the price now or what is going on with it, but GPen was around $7,000. And mostly DoD, Department of Defense, and other big companies, they pay for their cybersecurity employees to go for this training and get certified, right? On individual basis, not really seeing anybody who will just pay $7,000 for a certification, right? But there are other options out there that are a bit cheaper that I think will really test your penetration testing or ethical hacking skills than GPen, right? But GPen is still nice to have, but expensive, right? So GPen is also one of the pen testing certifications that you can pursue if you want to go the route of pen testing. Now let's look at some other ones on here. So the most popular when it comes to pen testing certifications is CEH. CEH is the most popular, right? Now with CEH, it is administered by EC Council. EC Council, they are like the godfathers when it comes to penetration testing or ethical hacking. I mean, hands down, they are like the ISC square when it comes to cybersecurity certifications. EC Council is kind of like the ISC square when it comes to ethical hacking, right? They've been around for a long time. They have a lot of really good training when it comes to ethical hacking. Now, I think they also have like the CEH practical something also certification out there, right? So that focuses really on the hands-on portion, right? But mostly if you want to take this, they have a training where you go through the whole entire training and then you take the exam, right? But there are also some folks who don't know where to even begin when it comes to ethical hacking, who still have these certifications because they just got some dumb questions, sat for the exams and pass. But if you have CEH, it doesn't necessarily mean you can do ethical hacking, right? It just means you pass the exam. Now, if you have the knowledge and skill and you can actually do it, that is a plus, right? So now we are going to look at the most difficult of all ethical hacking certifications. And with this certification, you are not going to, do any multiple choice. You're actually going to hack into 5 systems, right? So this certification is by Offensive Security. Offensive Security is one of the hands-on, by far, one of the hands-on ethical hacking certifications that are out, ethical hacking certification companies that are out there. So the most popular when it comes to ethical hacking is OSCP. Now the OSCP, they have their training. They will take you through the training, and also you get to sit for the exam. I think once or twice, right? But the last time I checked, and the last time I took this, I think it was almost like $800 or something for the training together with the exam. Right now, I'm not sure how much it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be anything more than maybe 2,000. But still, I think it is more than 2,000. I just recently saw it somewhere. It's probably 2,500 or something, right? That is together with the labs. They have like a security lab built already for you that you are going to practice on, capture the flag exercises and stuff. But with this, the exam, with the OSCP exam, it is a 24-hour exam, right? 24-hour exam. And after the 24 hours of you trying to hack into 5 different systems, after the 24 hours, you have another 24 hours to prepare your report, pen testing report for each of these, for each of the 5 systems that you breached, right? That is if you are successful and you're able to breach all of them. So how are they going to know whether you are successful? I kept saying, CTF, capture the flag exercises. So what they do is once you are able to hack into the system, what you do is they have flags. So they have numbers that they have either on the desktop or somewhere. If you are able to get to the location where the flag is, you will copy that, like the numbers that they have on there, and you are going to paste somewhere that they've allocated you for you to do that. So that will indicate that you've passed or you've been able to successfully hack into that system, and then you do the next one, you do that. So it's not in any special order, but they have different types of exploits. I know for me, when I took mine, the not brute force, but they had one of the exploits that people dread when they take these exams. I think that was the very first one that I did, and that was successful. Sometimes you run into rabbit holes. You try to hack into the system, and you run into some roadblocks. You stop. You go to a different system. You try to hack into it. You run into another roadblock. So I think for mine, it wasn't a brute force attack. What is the name of this exploit? Very common. I really, for some reason, I can't remember the name of it, but very hard to do, but also very, if you know what you're doing, not that hard, easy. But they have 5 systems. I think 3 Linux systems and 2 Windows, or vice versa. I don't remember, but yes. Anyway, choice with this certification, my point is you are actually going to be hacking into systems. You have 24 hours to hack into 5 systems, right? If you are successful and you're able to hack, I think you're supposed to they have allocated points. You're supposed to get at least maybe 3 or 4, depending on which ones you're able to get. I think it's 4. At least you're able to hack into 4. And then you do your report the next day and you submit it, and then you get fully certified, right? So this is, if you have this, anybody who has this certification, I know what you went through and I know what you know, right? But if you have, so somebody who has this as opposed to somebody who have just CEH or Pen Test Plus, if you're looking for a job and whoever is interviewing you, they know what these certifications you have to do to get them, they'll pick somebody who has OSCP. I mean, I'll pick somebody with OSCP hands down. So OSCP will really help you build your knowledge and skill, and also develop you and build your confidence when it comes to ethical hacking side. So it is the gold standard when it comes to ethical hacking arena, just like how they say CISSP is the gold standard when it comes to defense, when it comes to the defensive side of security, right? So I know there are some questions in the chat. We'll address those later, but that is the end of the list of certifications, best certifications within 2023, right? If you didn't see any certification in here, it doesn't mean those certifications are not good to have. All certifications are good to have, mainly because of the skills and knowledge that you are going to gain as you are going through that process of getting that certification, right? But this is from research that we picked from other areas or other schools of thought within the industry. This is what we came up with, right? I think this was like the top 10 for almost all industry reports that we looked at. Okay. So now we are going to jump into Eretmis Academy. For everybody on here, if you've not already taken our Cybersecurity for Beginners free course and also PCI DSS free course, please do. And for anybody looking to get into cybersecurity, so for some of the certifications that we talked about, if you go through our entry-level course, it will give you that foundation for Security Plus, Security Analyst, for CISSP, for CISA, right? But for some of it, like CISA, you need a little bit of auditing on top to be able to be almost there. For CISSP, you just need to know how to think like a manager. Together with entry-level, you are going to get there, right? So entry-level gives you that foundation. It covers hands-on training, workshop/internship, and also job placement assistance. And also we have PCI DSS training that is also going on within our academy. And for other certification courses, we have CISSP and the rest that we also offer, Security Plus and the rest alike that we offer. So please do go to our website, take a look at all the training that we have. For PCI, for folks who are interested in PCI DSS, we have PCI DSS specialist, PCI DSS expert. So specialist, 3 months of training, 1 month of internship, expert, 4 months of training, 2 months of internship. And the difference between the two is with specialists, we are training you to be an internal, an implementer. If you want to, label it, you're going to be an internal assessor. With an expert, you are going to gain the knowledge and skill that, everything within specialist, plus you are going to gain the knowledge and skill of a QSA, right? So without the title of a QSA, you are going to gain the knowledge and skill and know how to perform PCI DSS audits, external audits, coming from the outside. Right? So these are the two training that we have. So for our next PCI DSS class, it's starting on the 20th. For our cybersecurity entry level and all other training, they are self-paced, so you can start at any time. But for PCI, we have the online version, which is self-paced. That goes hand in hand with the live sessions. So the next live session is going to be on the 20th of June is when we are starting the next live session. So now we are going to go into questions. And then also, if you want to reach out, Eretmis Academy on LinkedIn, on YouTube, you can watch all our Eretmis Cyber Chats on there as well. And for myself, Dr. Edu, you can find me on LinkedIn and we can link up. And if you have any questions, we will address it as we move on. So our goal is to make sure you become the best security professional that you can ever be here. So I think there is going to be a mention, but I'm not sure if the person is on here. Is Vincent on here? I'm not sure if he was able to join us, but for maybe last week or last 2 weeks, Vincent was the one who was asking the question when Sheila was moderating. Vincent was asking, I think he was trying to reach out and if I was going to give the PCI folks special attention like I give to the entry-level folks because he wasn't getting attention. But then he just had a meeting with me, I think like 3 days before, right? So Vincent got a job. My point that I was trying to make is Vincent got a job. We were working on a job interview that he was going for, right? He got a job. He just got his offer today. So if he was here, I was going to give him a shout out, but I'm not sure if he was able to join us. But I think most folks will remember Vincent from that comment. So we are going to jump into the questions that we have on here. Okay, so just going through the chat real quick. I think there was some back and forth chats going between folks on here. CISSP exams is 6 hours. Yes. No, so CISSP, I think the 6 hours version, they have the computer-based version, which I think is 3 hours. The one that I took, my CISSP was 6 hours, right? It was still the computer version, but then it was the online version. So mostly it is the written one that is 6 hours, but now they were trying to do some experiments. And, mine that I took was 6 hours. That was a little bit a while ago. But for CISSP, I think it's 3 hours. 3 hours, I think, is 3 hours with 100 questions, 100 plus, right? Depending on how well you do as you're answering the questions. So, yes. I currently have Security Plus, but I'm yet to land a befitting job. What other certifications do I need? Okay, so for certifications, if you have Security Plus and you are struggling to get a job, it is not the more certifications you have that is going to make you competitive or that is going to make it easy for you to get a job, right? We have to really be able to diagnose that problem. Are you getting interviews but you're not getting the job, or your resume is not fetching you anything? Right? You have to, at that point, you just have to fine tune what you are doing. You don't need I mean, folks, there are a lot of folks on here who got jobs without certifications, right? With zero. They got jobs before they even start for Security Plus. So it is not because you don't have the certification. It is because maybe, you know, you are doing something wrong in the job placement or in the job search process or the interviewing process, you know, somewhere there. So you have to fine tune that rather than just stacking up certifications. Because if you get into that habit, now what you are doing is you are desperately looking for a job. You have Security Plus, but you can't get a job. If you want to get another certification, guess what you are going to do? You are going to try to take a shortcut. So you're just going to get some practice tests and memorize it and try to, you know, pass CISA. And that is really not going to help, because now you go into interviews and you are going to look like a moron because you are not able to answer simple questions that anybody with that certification that really passed on their own merit should be able to answer. Right? Is the hands-on and internship the same? No. So for us, the hands-on training and the internship are not the same. The hands-on focuses on how to use tools like Nexus, Splunk, Nmap, and the rest, right? Some of the popular tools within the industry. The internship really focuses on projects within the industry. So working on risk assessment, risk registers, working on security assessment for an organization and stuff like that, right? So actually doing the work is the focus of the internship slash workshop. Morris is asking, what are some of the ways to keep up with cybersecurity trends? What do you follow, or what do you follow, or what do you do to keep up informed? I think this is a very easy answer. Google, right? It might sound funny, but yes, actually, you just have to, you know, you can literally Google cybersecurity trends, and there's going to be trend reports. There's going to be, but one way to really keep up with the industry is annual industry reports, right? For all fairness, annual industry reports. If you go on right now to Google and you type in cybersecurity annual reports, there is a whole list of them. I think we did a cyber chats where we did a review of annual reports. Please go to our YouTube channel and check. There is a whole list of them. So Splunk has annual reports, CompTIA has annual reports. Some focuses on cybersecurity careers. Others will focus on industry, what is going on within the industry. Others focus on vulnerabilities and attacks within the industry. So that is how you're able to keep up, right? Industry, like that is one one spot that you are going to find really good evidence without, you know, going through different pages and different websites, right? Industry trends reports is where all the information you're looking for will be at. Okay, when is the hands-on training provided? So hands-on training is self-paced. Yes, you go through, so for the hands-on, we walk you through how to build your own cybersecurity lab. It is self-paced hands-on. You go through video lessons, lesson notes, but then if you need help, you can always reach out for us to take you through whichever tool that you are struggling with. How does the CE work during the 3 years that you are able to renew? Okay, so for Security Plus, you can, to renew Security Plus or most of these certifications, you can retake the exam, or you can provide certificates from, so let's say you went through Eretmis, you completed a training with Eretmis, you have the certificates, you can present that, that will count always. So I think that will be like 40 hours, 40 plus. If you took some other training elsewhere, if you came to a webinar like this, we can give you a certificate, but that is going to count, I think, for 1 or 2 CEU or CPE points, right? So you can, you know, add all those to it. And then also for CompTIA, they have their own CEU training that you can pay for. Once you pay for that, then you go through the training, they will add the points to it, and that will, you automatically renew. Now, if maybe, for example, you forgot and the expiration date passed, you still have 90 days to, you know, renew before it totally, you know, gets off their system and you have to write again, right? But it's always good if you want to write again, because you are always going to test your knowledge and skills again. Can you explain the difference between, so the difference between PCI classes we explained already. you have larger skill sets in order to become a PCI DSS compliance officer. So Kenneth, to be a PCI DSS compliance officer or to start anything within PCI, you need to have a good working knowledge in cybersecurity or in IT, right? PCI teach. So George O is asking, does PCI, teach you the cybersecurity basics? So for, I'll say if you're just taking a PCI training elsewhere, no. For us, PCI cybersecurity basics, not really, but we'll take you through a cybersecurity crash course, right? The crash course is a high-level overview of cybersecurity. We do that for 3 weeks, right? But that is by no means going to be enough if you have zero background, right? What that does is it's going to start a conversation of, hey, you need to look more into this. You need to look more into this area of cybersecurity architecture and design, look more into this area, but we try as much as possible to break it down and go down to the foundation, but we are pressed for time, so we wouldn't be able to. The focus is on PCI, not really on cybersecurity in general. But because PCI is a build-up on cybersecurity, we take that time to take you through that as well. Right? What are the mock interviews like with this program? So for mock interviews, if let's say you have an interview on Friday, we encourage you to send us the job description at least 3 days before, right? And what we do is we will go through and analyze what really is going to go on during the interview, what questions they're going to ask you and stuff. And then we get to you and give you, mostly for most students now, we will do voice notes on WhatsApp. So we will send you a list of, when you send it to us, our first take, we will send you a whole list of voice notes. Hey, look at this area, look at that. They might ask you this on that. So we send you that for you to prep to meet us again. So when you come back for the second time, now we are going to go through, we will ask you the questions, right? And then you answer, we polish up, no, don't answer it that way, answer it that way, add this to it, take that from it. So that is how we do the mock interviews. Right? So the more time that you give yourself and us, the more we're able to go through and the more you are going to gain out of it, right? But if you just reach out, hey, I have an interview tomorrow at 1 or at 9 a.m., there's really little that we can do. All that we can do is probably, if there's time, send you some, give you some pointers on, okay, look into this, look into that. How would you answer this? And then that will be it for you to go to the interview, right? So you really have to give yourself time and give us time. How long will you suggest a newbie in IT hold the first cybersecurity job before jumping into PCI DSS? So if you are a newbie in IT or in cybersecurity, if you go through our cybersecurity entry-level course, for us, that will be a good starting point for you to start PCI. Because for our cybersecurity entry-level course, it will take you through, it will take you from where you are to where you can start working in the cybersecurity industry. So we have a lot of folks working just from taking the entry-level course, right? So when you are done and you've gone through the internship, you're a full-blown cybersecurity professional, whether you are working or not, right? So with that knowledge and skill sets, you can jump into the PCI DSS training. Also go to CISA website to sign up for, okay. So I think like somebody was, Jermaine was maybe probably answering the question of where do I get updates on cybersecurity? What certifications are worth it for people making 200K with banking background? So if you are making 200K with banking background and you want to switch into cybersecurity, maybe for your first jump, you are going to have a little bit of pay cut. So before you get scared and you run away, wait. Within the cybersecurity space, just like within any other industry, if you want to really get into the 200s plus, it's more managerial leadership, senior role, right? So if I'm assuming if you are taking 200K within the banking industry, you might probably be holding some maybe senior level role or, mid-level, senior, high mid-level role, senior level role. So those skill sets can, translate into cybersecurity. And then also, because you're coming from a banking background and you are really up there in the banking background, I will suggest you circle back and go to the banking side when you get your cybersecurity training, because it will be very easy for you to leverage whatever you have in there. You understand banking inside and out. And now with the security background, you'll be able to help them really secure themselves well, as opposed to somebody like myself with no banking background. Regardless of how much knowledge and skill I have in security, I still don't understand banking as well as you, right? So although you wouldn't also understand security as well as me, you have an upper hand on me when we go to the banking side to work as security professionals, because you understand their language well than me, right? There are some things they don't have to explain to you. Me, they probably have to explain to me, right? Probably all day, and I still wouldn't get it. So, but for certification wise, like what I just said, you have to go for, at least start. So I'll encourage everybody, start from Security Plus and build yourself up to security to CISSP and the rest. Okay. Also, you've seen people making the switch to cybersecurity, having to take I'm not really sure about that question, or probably you're talking about pay cuts or pay to on the onset. So if you are starting off in security and you are really leveraging the managerial skills, or maybe you are working as CFO for some company, so you know how the C-suite works, and you are coming in with such a knowledge base and skill sets, it's very easy to still get into security and leverage yourself and start with 200 plus, right? Because now you are not just selling, you are selling your skill sets in the managerial leadership role. On top of that, you're also exhibiting that you have some cybersecurity knowledge and skill, right? So because for most of these roles, to be a CISO, right, or maybe VP or director of security, you need to have a working knowledge of cybersecurity itself, but you are not necessarily going to be the technical guy on the ground doing all the job, right? So they are looking more at your leadership, managerial skills, giving direction and purpose to the security folks than you actually. So they will really care less. Not that they don't need you to have any security knowledge and skill, but they care less if you are very technical and you are, well vested in security, but you can't manage or you can, lead anybody to save your life. They won't take you, right? So you can still leverage yourself if you are coming in with some, skill sets, a lot of soft skills from wherever you are coming from. So what do you feel will be more beneficial for individuals that have at least 5 years experience? Experience is CEH certified, PCI, or cybersecurity internship. Okay, so it depends on what you want to do, right? If you think you are lacking some, or you have some gaps in your knowledge base and skills, gaps in your skill sets in cybersecurity, you can take the cybersecurity internship. If you want to pursue a niche within cybersecurity and you want to do PCI, then yes, with at least 5 years in IT or cybersecurity, you can do that also as well, right? And is there a recommended path of education mixed with certificates for PCI track? Yes, so PCI, for us, we will say start with PCI specialist, and you can move up to PCI expert. But with certification track, we will say start with Security Plus, right? And then build yourself to maybe security analyst, build yourself to CISA or SIM, and then not CISA and CISSP or SIM, right? So that will be the path in terms of certifications, right? And then eventually you can become certified as an ISA or QSA, depending on where you are working and which company wants to take you to get that certification from PCI. But at that time, you would have had the prerequisite certifications, you have the knowledge and skill already. So during those training is going to be, you just have to go through the motions. You have a program for OLI internship. Yes, Michael, we do have OLI internships as workshop. cybersecurity internship/workshop, but we don't have just internship/workshop for PCI yet, right? Because mostly folks who want to do PCI internship, we don't know what you don't know. And before we can put our tag on you and say you are good, you've gone through our PCI internship, you are good to go, we have to know what you know first. So i.e. you have to go through our training and then the internship. Right? How close are the internship provided after getting into the course, or does it depend on what projects you have? Also, the internship, mostly you work on almost like 10 different projects, right? So we try to expose you to almost everything that you are going to get exposed to on the job. So there are different projects that you work on, 10, but for every cohort, you work on at least 10 projects. Do we assist? Yeah, so with resume rewrite and all that, that is part of our job placement assistant training, and that is for all training. For all major training like PCI, security, cybersecurity entry level, and the rest, they all come with job placement assistants. The next question from John says, so you need cybersecurity basics to switch to PCI. Yes, you need to have a working knowledge in cybersecurity or in IT in general, you know, for us to say you are good, you can get into PCI. Without that, you probably have to go through our cybersecurity entry level course and then switch to PCI, right? But I know there are some folks who are preaching that you don't need any IT background or cybersecurity background, you can start PCI. I don't know what they are teaching, or maybe they have some magic stick somewhere that I don't know of. But for us, if you don't have any background in cybersecurity or IT, you have to do double the work, right? It's not like you can do it, but you have to do double the work. And almost everybody here, you are a working dad, a working mom, a working, somebody. So combining 2 courses in one and combining your life and everything that is going on would be almost impossible. And we don't want you to be ineffective, right? Get in the middle of the course and you realize, you cannot pull this off, right? So that is why we encourage you at least get that training from our cybersecurity entry level course, or have that coming into it, and it will be way easier for you. So what are the security applications used to audit and monitor threats? So Kenneth, so security applications that are used to monitor threats and track threats, there is a whole list of them. If we want to look at it from vendor, from your vulnerability scanning tools, your IPS and IDS, from your SIM tools. So some of the vendors, Splunk, Nexus, Qualys, QRadar, Archer, there is a whole list of them, right, that we can use. So, and all these are, so we can look at it from categories in terms of vulnerability scanning tools or SIM tools or SOAR tools. And we can also break it down into vendors. So within those groups, there are vendors who are making those tools within those groups. So as example, if you take vulnerability scanning tools, there are a lot of vendors, but the most popular ones, Qualys, Nexus, and the list goes on, right? And Nexus is the name of the tool, but the company is Tenable, right? So there's a whole list that we can go through. And now almost everybody and their mom is also trying to come up with some tool. So there are a lot of new tools that are coming out, Drata and Drada, and there's almost new ones out there. But mostly for the different categories, they all follow the same format in terms of interface, right? So if you know how to use one, you can really use any other one within that space, right? They follow the same interface. So it's easier. So that is why, like I always, if you know how to use one in each category, you can function anywhere within the industry. So is it better to obtain, question is it better to obtain CISA?
Let's finish.
So there's a question, is it better to obtain CISA certification first as a newbie or Security Plus? So I'll go with Security Plus because it is going to help you pass CISA easy, right? I'll go with Security Plus because Security Plus, in terms of technicality is difficult than CISA, right? So if you go through Security Plus and you really master the content of Security Plus, scaling CISA will become easier. And what you would need in addition to Security Plus to scale CISA will be to learn the auditing side of information security auditing, right? The technicalities of auditing when it comes to information security and auditing in general. That is the only thing that you have to add, right? And then also some, how to think like a manager, on those lines, rather than, but in terms of like the technical side, Security Plus is much difficult than CISA, right? So do you have a program for veterans? So for veterans, we are going back and forth with VTech application. Hopefully we get approved and all our veterans will be able to go through without paying a dime. It's going to be on VA. So hopefully we'll make an announcement on that once we get approved. I want to get into the internship program. How do I register? So you go to our website, you will see workshop, cybersecurity workshop. You can register there for the internship. The next one is probably going to start somewhere late June, right? So Kenneth is asking, I think they are doing bait and switch, get you into the program and then sell you something else, the hook. I'm not really sure what Kenneth is talking about. If you can unmute yourself and speak, Kenneth, maybe, like, I don't know if you're referring to us or you're referring to anybody else.
You were referencing to some programs out there that was selling you don't need any technical background. And I've been kind of researching and looking around because of that fact. And what I was seeing or come to conclusion, selling just a basic old bait and switch. We're going to give you this, get you hooked once you get in. Well, you need this one more thing to get where you want to be. It's one of the, it's an old way of doing things, but that's what I believe it is, honestly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true. But for us, like everybody who's been on here with us for the whole time, there is no easy way out, right? You have to do the work, and we will tell you as it is. So whatever we tell you exactly is what is going to be in there. So for somebody's also asking, how long is the internship? So our internships, 2 months, and sometimes a bit longer than 2 months, depending. If you are not done with the projects, we try to make sure we are done with the projects before, because it's not just by time. I mean, we are doing this, it is our time also. So we could have easily said, hey, you guys, you are able to finish only 7 projects, so that's it. But we try to, look at the quality side as well. So we rather spend 2 more weeks to finish all 10, rather than to finish early and not finish on time and not be able to get on all the projects, right? Jason, go ahead. And then if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and raise your virtual hand, and we will address the questions, and then we will wrap it up here shortly. Go ahead, Jason.
All right, Doctor, thanks. Paint me a realistic picture. So as somebody who's getting the certs, going to work on making sure that my resume is on point as you recommended, and getting the interviews. Looking at this climate now with jobs not wanting remote or wanting them more in-house, and then being a foreigner, trying to get that on top of that. How best would you circumvent all of those to make yourself the best option for remote jobs, in your opinion?
Okay, so and Jason is speaking from Japan, right?
Yeah.
Right, Jason? Okay. So Jason, I'm not sure for Japan. I've not done the research on that, but stateside, now when it comes to security jobs, cybersecurity jobs, mostly I would say is almost like 80 to 90% remote, maybe 20% hybrid, right? Probably 10%, in person. You have to be there every day, right? Those, like the 10% predominantly focuses on the government side. You have to be there, right? But for most companies, previously before COVID, remote jobs were a bit hard, like they were a bit harder to find, right? But COVID has taught most companies they don't really need all that extra cost of having everybody come to the office. Now, some companies, they still need you there, but even for those companies, they are doing hybrid, right? So you come to the office maybe twice a week, and 3 days you are working from home. But I'm not sure how that is for Japan. But also now getting into how to make yourself really stand out, right? I think regardless of race, gender, color, what is going to set you apart from everybody is the knowledge you are bringing, the knowledge and skills you are bringing to the table. What employers hear during any interview is, what can you do for them, right? How are you going to help your company move from point A to point B in terms of security, right? So regardless of their own perceptions of who you are based on your color, gender, race, I think if you go to 10 interviews and all 10 think alike in terms of whatever their preconceptions are, if you are coming in with a lot of, blazing with a lot of knowledge and skill, and it's very obvious you know your stuff, I think 9 of them will pick you, because at the end of the day, they are in business to make money, right? It's like if you had you have to do brain surgery, you are sick, you have to operate on your brain. I think at that point, you really care less who is going to do the operation, regardless of what your preconceptions are. So if you have some, preconceived idea about a certain race, gender, and there you are on your bed, and, guess who shows up? The person or the group of people that you don't like, and they are the best in the industry, and that is like the best option you have now. I don't think you are going to say, you know what, I'll pass on that. So same thing here, right? And like I've seen that, I've done that both in the military and in the corporate side, right? So always do 120%, go above and beyond, make sure you know your stuff. So that is why I always preach continuous learning, right? Whatever Dr. Edo gives you, Eretmis gives you is not enough. Keep pushing, look for different avenues, look for other things to supplement, right? Broaden your horizon. That is what is really going to set you apart, right? But if you are going in, you are doing bare minimum like everybody else, obviously they are going to choose who they like, right?
Yes.
But if you make it so difficult for them, I really like Jason, but Kenneth, I don't like him, but he seems like he can do the job. They'll pick Kenneth. And mostly for interviews, it's not only one person grading you, right? It's not only one person. At least you're going to go through 3 or 4 interviews. So just like Vincent went through 4 interviews. Everybody who interviews you is going to give you, they are going to score you, right? So let's say Kenneth just hates you for no reason. He gives you a 1. Now, Elikum and Adrian, they all give you 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5. You are going to get it, right? So it's not only one person who is going to decide. So what I'll say is, make sure you are really up to speed. You are above and beyond what you need for whatever certification you are holding, right? So make it so obvious that they cannot really pass you by, right? They have to really consider you. So even if they are going to say they are not going to give it to you, they have to go to bed really, to sleep with themselves, and really didn't make a good decision on that one, right? So that is my advice to everybody before you go, and also for interviews. Right? The job descriptions. Make sure you are going into interviews first, and your resume. You have to know it inside and out. You don't want to put anything on your resume that you can't defend, or you don't even remember you have it on there because you just copied and pasted somebody's resume, right? That is the last thing you want to do. 2, everything on the job description, make sure you know. And what I also advise is you have to make sure you know more about the company you are interviewing for than the person who is interviewing you from the company, right? So because most people just focus on your cybersecurity technical stuff, and then you are there and they're like, hey, what do you know about our company? Yeah, they're like, well, I'm not sure whether you can really, you want to marry somebody you don't know. Okay. That is not going to work, right? So make sure you know the company inside out. You go to their website, read their mission statement, vision statement, right? And all that is also going to help you in your, in answering your questions. So if I go to their website, I've seen what they are about in terms of their vision, their mission, what they've been doing. I've seen pictures of, I'm able to size them in my own way. Now, when they ask me, why do you want to work for a company? That's a freebie. I just go off their vision statements, make it my own. So this is what you guys want to do. My vision or my own personal, missions align with whatever you are doing, regardless whether mine aligns or not. Now their vision is my vision. And that is what employers want to hear. So whether that is wholly the truth or not, I just borrowed their vision, it became mine. And now they'll be there nodding like, okay, so this guy really, did his homework. And I think everybody on here, if you are the one interviewing, you pick somebody who knows more about your company than you do, than somebody who just have the technical skills coming in. Because at that point, if you just have technical skills, you have no interest learning about a company. At that point, you are just in for the money. And like they want somebody who is in for more than just the money, who is showing that commitment, that they have vested interest in the company. So I hope that answers your question, Jason.
Thank you. I'd only add the only caveat of I'm trying to get an American job. So not really worrying about remote in Japan, American job.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got you. So for like American jobs, I mean, I think now there are more remote jobs than jobs that are in person. So.
Thank you, Doc.
Okay, you're welcome. Go ahead, George. Yes, you can ask your question, George. Okay, I think George's hand is down. So I'm not sure if there are some more. Like I think we looked at all the questions. Okay, there's another question in there. Which of your program is best for a nurse that has no cybersecurity background? So with no cybersecurity background, zero everything, our cybersecurity entry level course is going to be the best beginning point for you. But before you do, we encourage you to go through the cybersecurity for beginners to get some situational awareness, right, about cybersecurity. Maybe probably you see cybersecurity is not as sexy as you think it is, so you wouldn't want to do the switch. At least that will give you some background into cybersecurity, the job roles within security, what they do within those job roles, and then also you can hop onto our YouTube channel, go through some of our previous students who are currently working, what they are doing on the job, and at least get some really good situational awareness before you commit to anything. Right? That way, at least this is what cybersecurity is about. This is what I'm going to get myself into. Because sometimes some folks will reach out and say, hey, I want to be a penetration tester. So is your goal really to break into the cybersecurity industry or to become a penetration tester? Right? If your goal is to break into the security industry, then there's a path for you. If you want to be a penetration tester, then you have a long way to go. Right? If you want to be a penetration tester, not for fun or by hobby, but to actually do pen testing for people to pay you to do it, then there's a path for you, right? But that is not going to be within the time frame that you want to be able to switch. So mostly for if you want to break into the industry, our cybersecurity entry-level course is going to be the best option for you. So without any more questions, I think we have some on YouTube. We are going to look at those really quickly and then we'll wrap it up. I think like most of the YouTube ones are also this like similar ones that we addressed on here. All right, so we will be wrapping it up here shortly. So next week, there is not going to be any cyber chat next week. How many PCI career looks like? Oh, okay. So you're asking how PCI DSS career looks like on day-to-day basis. Hopefully that is what you're asking. So just like what you do as a security professional, it doesn't really change. For remote PCI jobs, it's big boy, big girl rule, right? You are working on projects. Some of these projects you have to come up with, right? And mostly in organizations with PCI, they just leave you alone. Nobody is really going to bother you. You come in there as the expert. They expect you to, take the ball and run with it. So you are going to be the one coming up with a strategy for them to pass. You are going to be the one tracking all the, PCI activities that they have to do, like ASB scans, pen testing, and all that. And, when they have to do it timely manner, you are going to be the one serving as a liaison between your company and the QSA company. So there's a whole list of things that you have to be doing, but nobody is going to come up with a timetable for you. You come up with your own timetable and you are on your own. Big boy, big girl rule. At the end of the day, what they want to hear is, oh, your company passed your PCI audits. What goes into it? Mostly they really care less. But if you fail, then the CEO will know about it and everybody else is going to know about it, right? So it's a high visibility role that can really make you shine, or that can really unmake you within the company. But if you know what you are doing, mostly it's going to be an easy, not an easy job because there's a lot to be done within it, but a very less stressful to a certain point, right? Yes, so our training is going to help you to gain the knowledge and skill. Not just that, but we are going to give you some in-house tools and also the strategy going into any PCI job. You can function in any PCI role, right? PCI consultant, specialist, name it. And also if you have to work in a QSA company as a PCI expert in a QSA company, helping with audits, we help you with that also as well. So for us, for all our training, our main goal is what are you going to do on the job? So because we focus on that, certifications become easier. If your focus is on certifications, you are going to get a certificate, but what are you going to do on the job? Still remains, right? So first day on the job as a PCI professional, now what? Right? Let's say they didn't even interview you, they just gave you the job. Now what? What are you going to do, right? You can't go and ask the job, what are we doing for today? There's nothing like that. You are on your own, right? As a security professional, security analyst, your manager might probably tell you, hey, we're working on this project, that project, go work on this, but then that's it. You can't go back and ask them, how do you work on this project? Right? You're on your own. So what are you going to do on the job is the question everybody should be asking themselves. So is the training you are gaining preparing you for what you're going to be doing on the job or not, right? And most of that you can even test during interviews, whether what you've been asked is, in line with what you've been training for and whether your training has well prepared you for even the interview, let alone actually doing the job. So, all right, everyone, we're wrapping up for tonight. I appreciate everybody's time. Like usual, you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here with us on Cyber Chat to develop yourself and grow as security professionals. There will be no Cyber Chat next week, but there will be one, the following week after next week. So next weekend, we are going to be off that is the week of the 3rd June. No, not 2nd June. We are not going to meet for Cyber Chat. I appreciate everybody's time. If you need help or you need any questions answered, please email. So there's a last question in there. Can an individual do PCI with CompTIA A+? Yes, CompTIA A+, you have security. You have some IT knowledge and skill coming into it. So yes, we can still polish you up on that for PCI. So before I answer that, we're wrapping up. So I appreciate everybody's time. We meet again 2 weeks from today, after June 2nd is when our next meeting is going to be. So our next meeting is going to be on June 9th, right? I appreciate everybody's time. Have a great night and a great weekend. If you need help, you can always reach out on any of our Eretmis channels, and we will be glad to help. And also, if you've not joined our WhatsApp platform, please do. We will send an email with a link to the WhatsApp group, so everybody else who is not on it can also join, right? I appreciate everybody's time. Have a great night. We'll meet again on the 9th, or on the 9th. Yes, I think on the 9th of June. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.